right, welcome to everybody that's here tonight. I see mostly faces that I know, so let us stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And last one in starts the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hello, Andy.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, Andy says hi, everyone. Hi, Andy. He's in California. All right.
I'm in Oregon.
Oh, who told me you're in California?
He was.
Oh, you were. You're in Oregon now. All right,
Yeah,
gotcha.
we are.
Okay, all right. All right, so let's move on to approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, passes 5-0. Let's move on to number 4, approval of minutes. We need to approve the minutes from the regular study and voting session on May 5th, 2026 as presented. Do I have a motion to approve those?
I'll make that motion.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And
Aye.
and that also passes 5-0. Okay, we're just rocking and rolling here. All right, let's move on to number 5, approval of donations. Jen, there's a bunch of them there, girl.
I know, my goodness.
Okay, we were,
Okay. A donation from Eugenia Farrow in the amount of $600 for PUSD. No designation. Karma Graphics LLC in the amount of $300 for Mile High Track. A donation from Lincoln Elementary School PTA to Lincoln Elementary for $1,000. Desmond Doss Foundation in the amount of $1,000 for PHS JROTC Scholarship Program. The Melvin Roop in the amount of $100 for Prescott High School Athletics. Can Do Award. I forget that. Marion Fraser in the amount of $200 for the Can Do Award. A check from Granite Mountain Middle School PTO in the amount of $500 for Granite Mountain Stucco Fund. A donation from Denise Broussard Walker in the amount of $100 for Athletics Hall of Fame. Jan Phillips Jones in the amount of $50 for the Can Do Award. Prescott Police Department in the amount of $2,500 for the Mile High Middle School Wrestling Mat Fund. The Jewish Community Center of Greater Prescott in the amount of $11,100 for Discovery Gardens Preschool for new lighting for our classrooms.
That's great.
This is a 2-pager, anybody who's paying attention. Darylyn Shell in the amount of $35 for the Can Do Award. Kimberly Padilla in the amount of $100 for the Can Do Award in memory. Those were both in memory of Paul Hicks. Badger Athletic Boosters for the football group in the amount of $4,173.75 for Prescott High School Athletics football referee fees. Thomas and Lee Haley in the amount of $50 for the Can Do Award Scholarship Fund. Ronald Rupinian in the amount of $100 for the Can Do Award, also in the memory of Paul Hicks. Onik and Laura Chichulian for $150 for the Can Do Award. Alice and Charlie King for $100 Can Do Award in memory of Paul Hicks. Linda Lee Pape for $50 for the Can Do Award in memory of Paul Hicks. And J.W. Keykefer, $2,500 for the Can Do Award in memory of Paul Hicks.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
So Mr. Paul Hicks is well loved in our community, right? He was very well loved.
Yeah. If you know, so historically, and that was in lieu of flowers, and that's the son of Dr. Taylor Hicks, and then Scott Hicks, who are both presidents or former presidents of the PUSD school district. That's his dad. So kind of great lineage.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, so much history. So
all right.
I move that we accept these
Do
donations.
we have a second on that?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so that's 5-0
Aye.
to improve our donations. All right, so let's move on to number 6, information items. 6A, summary of current events. Mr. Tenney, you want to start us off?
Sure, you bet. Sometimes we're at 6:30 by this point in the agenda. We're at 5:05. I kind of like it. This is
It's
great.
USA Soccer tonight, by the
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah,
7 o'clock.
let's get at it. Let's get it. Okay, I think Sarah's got a handful of slides. Here we go. most of these things are from the conclusion of this school year. The last time we met, of course, was early May, and these are things that happened more recently. There were multiple concerts at different schools. This is one of the photos I took at the Mile High Band concert. I was just struck by how many kids on the stage. This is in their band there. That program is on the rise for sure, and there's Mr. James out front, and it was a great concert. A lot of parents involved as well. And then I think it was the next night, maybe 2 nights later, same week at any rate, both Mile High and Prescott High School choirs had their concert together at the Rue Street Theater. Just some fun costumes and some great choreography and really fun, and it was great to see. I think that might be combined choirs. I think those are combined choirs. They're up on the stage, so you can see there's 85 kids or something like that involved between those two choirs. And then I think our girls' treble choir, I believe it was, and I can't remember what song they were singing at this point, but they had some fun choreography with it. And took a couple of photos there. What else do we have? Each of our schools had some spring fling, field day type activities at the end of the year. I was there to happen to take some pictures, and there's our board president up in the upper left-hand corner lighting the official torch for the Abayajet Olympics this year. Kind of fun. You should have seen her slow motioning, running across the gym like Chariots of Fire. I think that was the theme from Chariots of the Fire was playing in the background. Fantastic. It seemed very realistic to me, at any rate. And then some just fun activities that the kids were involved in that day. And another thing, I think it happened that same week. Maybe it happened the previous week. It was the Living History Museum night that they do at Granite Mountain every year for fifth graders. Super cool, as you probably know. The kids, it's a major research project that the kids do. They choose a well-known person and then do research on them, and they do a paper on that and a presentation. A lot of times there's an electronic presentation, then a kind of a presentation board, and then there's a designated evening that they come dressed as the person that they researched, and they give presentations about it, and they usually have like a little button to press. They usually do it on their hands. They had their own separate standalone button this year. You press the button and they come to life as though they were Albert Einstein or Rosa Parks, whoever it happened to be. There were a couple of kids who were very impressed that I had met Rosa Parks. And so she came and spoke at my university when I was there. That kind of dates me. So, there were. That's right. No, so, and then as you know, it's graduation time of year at the high school. This is one of the pictures of the kids who went on the senior celebration tour around to each of our schools, which is just a neat tradition that we've been doing the last 6 or 7 years, something like that. That Amy Bittner got going when she was at the high school. Super fun. And then we had our baccalaureate evening that was sponsored by the PTO organization of the high school, where kids shared religious-themed scriptures or thoughts or songs or whatnot. And this was one of the groups that shared a song there. And then I believe the next slide is graduation itself. And the top 2 photos were taken by none other than Alan Hunt, who's here with us this evening. Thank you for allowing us to use them for this, and we're negotiating to be able to use a couple of these in some of our promotional materials for the district as well, because they're just such great photos. A couple of these were taken by families there, a couple of them were taken by Alan, but some great times. And is it all right if I share what you shared with me? Something along the lines, help me out if I'm misquoting you, Alan, but you and I were talking about other things, and you brought up how impressed you were with the graduation, and said something along the lines of you felt like you were visiting America for the first time when you came to this graduation. That's pretty, and you've been to America a lot of years, is my understanding. So that's kind of neat. Anyhow, great evening, and thank each of you for your participation, and Jane for your remarks there. That was terrific. And that's all I have for you. Yeah.
All right, let's go on with our board members. Brett or Andy, do you have anything you want to say?
The only things I would say is that I back up what Clark said. I attended a senior celebration tour, which was really a lot of fun. It's always good to watch. And then graduation was amazing. I also attended the ASBA Summer Leadership Institute at the beginning of June and got a lot of really good information from that about some activities in Arizona around the State 48 graduate profile that I can bring back and share with all of you at some point down the road. So, but it was a really good event. Anyway, that's all I have for today.
Excellent. All right, Brett.
I was also impressed with graduation. That was my first time on the stage, and it was, you see it from a different perspective. And I thought it was really well done, and I appreciated the gift bag that was given. That was very kind and appreciated. Let's see. I also attended a track beat after our last meeting, the upper elementary and Mile High Middle School track meet sponsored by PHS, and there were lots of volunteers, and it was a pretty big production. I was surprised at how many, I don't know how many schools were there, but there were probably 4 or 5 different schools that came to that track meet. But I enjoyed that. Granite Mountain Upper Elementary School had an event to show off their Luna Library and the grant that was generously donated. That was a well done event. And I also, with a couple other board members, went and toured the Mountain Institute Technology. Help me out. Mountain MIC-TED? Is that what it is? That what
Yeah, Mountain Institute Career and Technical Education.
Career
District. So yeah,
Technical
MIC-TED they often.
MIC-TED. And we saw their veterinary program, their dental program, and their cosmetology program. And that was my first time at that campus. And I appreciated those that made that happen for me. And then my last thing is I serve on the board for Distinguished Alumni of Prescott High School, and we had a meeting and we picked some new distinguished alumni. I don't know when that's officially announced, but
Great question. So we'll put out a press release around that. So Sarah has reached out to each of the awardees and has heard back from some, but not all. When we hear back from all of them, we'll do some press releases and whatnot. In the meantime, if you're interested in the awardees, Brett's aware, of course. I noted that in my board report to you today, so you can look at that. It's not, please don't post it on Facebook later on tonight. But
We're all such posters.
Yeah.
anyway, it's a good month and a half.
Yeah, so just all things surrounded the graduation. Have been meeting with, former PHS graduate Zach Sweeney. Him and his family started, I know, great guy. They have a local nonprofit called Beyond the Label, and they really do focus on bringing awareness to, we have kids in our schools, they're in wheelchairs, they're special needs, are non-communicative. They do a lot of the signboards around town, as well as at our nature center and then school grounds. And I mean, it's just tremendous what they've done. So our foundation at work had put some money in for that, learned that the merry-go-round at Taylor Hicks has some wood chips on it, talked to Clark and Brian about trying to get in. We'd like, our foundation, and then we're also raising some money as well as bring in team members from our work to help kind of clear that area. There's more to follow on that, but put down a rubber surface that we will raise the money for, and then it'll be a donation or whatever we need to do that. And then also look for some of that type of playground equipment on Granite Mountain Upper Elementary. So there's more of a playground presence for them too. So more to follow on that, but we'll see where we get.
Oh, we lost Andy.
Oh, excuse me, please. And then kind of an odd thing that on Father's Day, there's a group of fathers that get together. We've done this now for 2 years, and we call it Danger Camp because it's a bunch of dads on Father's Day. Moms stay home. It's more of a Mother's Day for mothers, right? Because they're not out there in the forest with a bunch of guys and their sons. And so they do pellet guns, they do build forts, they do pine cone wars. I mean, it's just crazy, right? It's Lord of the Flies. But anyway, so we have, but to a parent, all the guys that were out there, we had representatives from Taylor Hicks, Sabaya Judd, Lincoln, Granite Mountain, and Mile High Middle School. And they're just very, very complimentary about the education that their kids are getting. Just really impressed. They're all for the bond and override and anything they can do to help out with that. They were asking about 4-day schools, and we kind of ran the gamut through that, but just really involves a bunch of individuals and just great kids and whatnot. So it's kind of see that, especially during the summertime. So that's it.
Fun. I also did all of the senior things. I think it was a different perspective since my son graduated, and I feel like I was so focused on one thing that it was a little bit harder to stay focused on the broader thing. But I went to the senior awards, and I was just super impressed with the number of students, again, that are high achievers at PHS. And I don't remember the number you shared about how much money in scholarships, and grads with distinction was the largest class yet. And just when we thought last year's class was as large as it was going to get, it got larger this year. So it's just really impressive. I'm very amazed by our graduating classes and how much they continue to grow and get stronger every year. And I feel like that was my focus. I don't think I did anything else. Just graduation. Pretty much. I did go to the Granite Mountain Library, and it looks beautiful. If anybody gets a chance to go to the Granite Mountain Library, it really turned out so great. So good.
So I don't really have much to add here because everything that you guys mentioned I did as well, as much as I could. The library at Granite is incredible. Teresa, have you seen the new one yet? I have not yet. It's just so inviting, and you walk in and you just feel if there's a different atmosphere there. It's just incredible. Other than the senior awards, graduation, library, I did go and sing with the babies at Discovery Gardens, which is always a highlight for me. So we did our final little singing before the end of the year. But other than that, just what you guys did as well. All right.
May I just really quick, several of us have mentioned the great things that happen in the high school, and that's absolutely true. The folks at the high school, teachers and others, would be the first to acknowledge that they just kind of put the frosting on the cake. The cake is baked at Discovery Gardens and at Lincoln and at Abijah and Taylor Hicks and whatnot. It's a testament to what we do pre-K through 12, what we saw of those 12th graders primarily these last few weeks. And it's kind of a neat thing to be able to reflect on how we all work together for that we're a unified district in so many respects.
All right. 6B would be community comments shared with the board. Stan talked a little bit about evidently some positive remarks about the bond and the override and basically education in Prescott.
At danger
I've been
camp.
out of town for most of the time, so I don't have any, I didn't deal with anybody in the community much. Anyone?
No, I do want to make.
I've got.
Go ahead.
Andy, yep, you've got the floor.
I've got one. Just had a discussion with a friend who is a homeschooler, and she's a mom who does a great job with homeschooling. But we talked about the ballot initiatives that are out there and the differences between what homeschooling parents try to do. And this mom is a supporter of public schools. She just wants to teach her kids at home. But I think the point of it was that we're a lot closer together on many of these issues than you might get from the media. I think there are some areas where there are some differences for sure. Primarily, I think it's, the differences would come with the idea of financial accountability. I think a lot of the homeschool community feels that they are held to account financially, while many people outside of that community don't feel that way. I think as a district, we need to do a better job of explaining exactly what the accountability measures are for public schools, because it is far greater than what a homeschool situation would be held accountable to. But as far as things like academic accountability, I think we're on a similar mindset with a lot of the homeschool parents in that they want their children to be held accountable. They may not agree with standardized testing, which I know a lot of us don't either. And so I think there is some areas of common ground that we can find with a lot of those individuals. So that was just some feedback that I've received.
That's great.
I think that's great. Anybody else?
I would say for me, Clark and I've had some opportunity to talk to a lot of people, and I think just being able to go out and share what he's talking about, like what does our financial life really look like when it comes to how schools are funded. I think every conversation I have, the biggest response I get is, I had no idea. I had no idea. And I am in front of rooms that say, I just had no idea. So I agree. I've been actually super encouraged that we actually have a lot more in common, and people just don't understand. And I think if for no other reason, our ability to put something on the ballot gives us the opportunity to share the things that our community needs to know, and to open some eyes that even if we're unsuccessful, which I don't think we will be, they are learning. And I think it's just so important that our community learns it. And it's a lot for all of us to learn as we go through it. None of it makes sense, so it's very challenging. And I think it's been really eye-opening to our community. So that's been fun for me to watch those conversations taking place and participate in many conversations over the last month.
I can't remember when I went to a luncheon, I don't know if it was May or April, but the people that I've talked to about the bond and the override, they ask good questions, which is what I find remarkable, is that a lot of people really do ask thoughtful questions, and they get hopefully a thoughtful answer. And I think the more we can reach out to the community and the more we can answer their questions and be totally open about it. And oftentimes you find that, again, as Jen said, and Stan, we're very much on the same page. We just sometimes don't think we are.
Andy mentioned that too.
And Andy
Yeah,
too, of course.
absolutely.
Yeah. Anyone else have anything to talk about community comments? All right, let's move on to the consent agenda, item 7A. There are 16 items on this agenda for the consent. Hopefully, everybody had a chance to go take a look at it, see what's up. So I need a motion to consider or to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Or
So
as,
moved. Or does
if I
anybody wanna
might, yeah,
pull
Sarah sent out a
something?
reminder email
Yes.
earlier that if you don't have to pull something off the consent agenda unless you want to discuss it in depth and have it considered separately for vote. You
Right.
can
So-
certainly do that. You can discuss any of these things prior to a vote, ask questions.
Without
discuss
pulling it off.
Without pulling it off. If you do pull it, you can do that. That would have to be voted on separately. And if you want to, for some reason, highlight something in a special way, or if you have concerns about it, you think others might have concerns about it, that's the most appropriate method to go about discussing it. But if you just want to ask questions or discuss something briefly, it doesn't have to be pulled from the consent agenda before a vote. It's up to you how you do it.
Good to know. Does anybody want to bring up anything on the consent agenda they had questions about or concerns or weren't quite sure what it meant?
I guess my only question, and I'm sure it's just, I feel like maybe I asked the same question last year, so I apologize if I did. The agreement with the waiver of conflict of interest between YCAO and Prescott Lakes Parkway School and Prescott Unified School District. What is Prescott Lakes Parkway School, and what is our agreement with them that we have a conflict of interest?
That's a great question. There's not necessarily a conflict of interest, but
Okay, it's a potential conflict
there's a
of interest.
potential conflict of interest. They are represented by the same attorney that we might be if there was some kind of a conflict. You probably remember, it's the juvenile detention school, Prescott Lakes Parkway
Oh, that's
School.
right.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I asked this last year.
It's a valid and reasonable question every single time. Their funding needs to come through the district in which they geographically reside. Most of the students that are there, it's actually pretty rare for a student from PUSD to end up there. It turns out most of them are from outlying areas in the county, other districts, but they are within our school district. And
Gotcha.
so their funding needs to come through us. And so we need to have an IGA with them for that to happen. And if there was an issue around the intergovernmental agreement or how things are going, the county attorney would represent them and potentially represent us as well. So you just need to acknowledge that there might be a potential conflict of interest there. If there was something that came up, it's very, very unlikely. We've done this now for a couple of years. They're terrific. It's been very, very smooth. But if there was something come up, we could also, or alternatively, be represented by our own counsel. We wouldn't have to go to the county attorney, but technically the county attorney is at the disposal of all schools for educational issues.
This is a relatively new way of them handling it. as well,
Right, yeah.
correct?
For years, the state allowed the money to go through the County Education Service Agency to them, and we were told last year, you can't
It
do
had to
that
go
anymore. It
through
has to
us.
go through PUSD. We're like, wait a minute, what?
That's, now
This
I'm
has
remembering
nothing
that
to do with us.
conversation,
Are
yeah.
you serious? And the state gave us a waiver on part of it last year, but starting this year, it's got to go through us and then to them. We're just a pass-through. None of the money is retained with us. Brian, do you have anything more on that you want to add? Or
No, that was perfect.
That's an adequate.
No, I'm going to remember now that it just sounds like
it's fine.
not a juvenile detention school by the name, and which is
Yeah.
good. I think
Yeah,
it shouldn't
right. I think
necessarily
that's
sound like it is a
intentional. Right.
juvenile detention
Right.
school, but it just doesn't click with me.
Yeah.
Now I'll remember, I think.
Right.
Yeah, they do.
Well, and there is some history behind that, and I think it's probably important to highlight that Prescott Lakes Parkway School comes, because not all the students are detained. So there's a number of those students are unfortunately through there because of trafficking. And so they come there and they go in and out of the school. And so they don't want for those students to be referred to as juvenile detainees. And so they
Oh,
do that
okay.
because
We
they
serve
can't be
other
in the
students in that same-
mainstream
they serve
school.
other students.
They sure do. So I
Nice.
think it's very, it's a very good school.
It is a great school. There's great people in charge. They have great teachers, and they've been so good to work with over the years. So, yeah, that's.
Awesome.
Actually,
good
that was
question.
a question I had as well, because I didn't remember the name of
Yeah.
the school. I thought it was Prescott Lakes.
That
or
was my
something.
only question.
Brett, did you have something you wanted to say? No? All right. Questions about anything on the consent agenda? All right. Do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that's 5-0 to accept the consent agenda. All right, now moving all the way through to 7B, public hearing. Sarah, do we have anyone who's interested? No one wants to speak at our meeting tonight? All right, okay. Let's see, at this point, we're considering recessing the regular meeting to go to a public hearing, which we don't need to do, so we're moving on to our study session already. Do we have anybody who wants to speak about anything that's on the vote? Well, actually, we're not there yet. Okay. 7C1, to consider approving the proposed budget for 2026-2027 as it is presented, and that's Brian Moore. What would you like to say about that?
I can't believe it's already the next year. So,
Wait, what?
oh my goodness. So once again, this is a document that basically shows the spending potential, for the district and, the 44 different funds we have, focusing mainly on our maintenance and operation budget, which is driven solely by enrollment and then also funded completely by our taxpayers. And then also our district additional assistance. What numbers from a student estimate is what drives how much we have our M&O budget. The tax rate that you see is actually a lower tax rate than last year, both from a primary tax rate and a bond tax rate. They both went down, and really the budget capacity for PUSD went up due to the 2% increase to the what a child is worth. But the property within PUSD has significantly increased in value to the point where it actually, the percent went down. So there's that. From a ADM standpoint, again, plan for flat enrollment and hope that that's the best. Best case scenario is we have more kids than what we did budget for. In that case, we taxed for what's in the budget. We do have taxed money at the treasurer's office for the years where we taxed and we didn't have as many kids come. It's called dead cash at the county because we can't spend it. But if we did have more students come than we budgeted, that's when we can access that money because we are on current year funding. So what you see in front driving the tax rate is not known until the kids come and the first 100 days pass. Then we'll know whether or not we estimated well. So anyway, besides that, I do buffer the ADM a little bit, about 20 ADM higher, just for that potential of having a few more kids. And I'll take any other questions that you may have that's on the documents. Other than that, the budget forms did come out just last Friday because the legislature, they adjourned and it was passed. So these are the final budget forms. So thank you for having a later in June budget board meeting. Otherwise, we would have to do what we did last year and have a budget revision in August or September. We do not have to do that. We will have a budget revision in December if our budget is overstated by 1%. So if it's off by and this is the M&O budget, probably off by 280,000 out of the 28 million, then we will have to do a budget revision in December.
And Brian, what the board will be looking at, help me if I'm wrong here, what the board will be looking at in terms of what we're budgeting in each of those areas reflects the conceptual budget that they already voted on back in March.
Yes.
Just for
Yeah, so back in March,
how many kids you want to have in each class, how much you want teachers to be paid, et cetera.
yeah, back in March when you, stipulate, 3% raise for a cross staff, that at page 2 on there, which is the maintenance and operation budget, and you have all the functions and object, that big complex grid, reflects the areas in which the teachers and staff received the 3% raise. And basically for that, all I do is look at what we spent last year, and I use that as the beginning point for this upcoming year's budget, and then adjust it in December or May, whichever one's deemed needed.
Is there compensation if you guess under?
No, if you guess, let's just wait. If you guess too little ADM or too much ADM?
If the ADM comes in higher than what we guess.
That's where we did not tax enough then. So actually, it is a break for our taxpayers if all of a sudden we had 100 more students show up in August. And if we did not have, for example, in COVID year, the year 200 kids didn't show up. We had no idea what was happening. We taxed for those 200 students. And so you take 200 times 5,000, that money is still sitting in the treasurer's office.
We can't access it by law.
You cannot access
to the
it.
taxpayers.
And you used to, about 11 years ago, you used to be able to offset the current year's tax rate based on the prior, what cash you have at the treasurer's office, and then they took that ability away. So you really can't know, we have 400,000 or $1 million cash at the treasurer's office from prior years. We're going to adjust, so we're only taxing for 27 million instead of 20. We can't do that. So it just sits there until there's a year in which there's more kids than, more kids in our community. Not going to happen probably in the near future. We hope that it will. But it will be, we can access it if we under-tax.
Gotcha.
And if we overtax, then it just grows our dead cash at the treasurer's office.
Thanks.
So I just have a quick question, and I don't know if it's even relevant, but this current year funding situation we have in Arizona, is this common in other states, or is this kind of an Arizona kind of messed up?
Would you like, I could guess. I have
You
no
don't-
idea.
you don't know what
Every
happens in
state
other
funds their education system differently. Every state has their own funding formula. Every state has their own budget practices. So I literally do not know. All I know is in 2017, they decided to change it, and it went into effect in 2018, and we've been on current year funding ever since. Would you like me to find that out for you?
No,
Okay.
it just seems, I mean, it's nothing we can handle here.
No.
It just seems a little screwy.
It used to be, what I think is just perfect. 100th day was in January, and we used to be funded on the prior year. We knew exactly what our budget
Yeah.
would be because the
Yeah,
100th
no-
day had
no
passed.
guessing.
And now we're budgeting in January to try to figure out a raise based on students that haven't showed up yet. So it's difficult. I think the district's pretty good at it, and we're really conservative at it too.
I do have a question.
I would have been so disappointed if you didn't.
I thought you would be disappointed. On the special education page 69, there's proposed ratios for special education at the bottom that are like, it says teacher-pupil ratios. They seem very off to me. I don't know, I know that's not our actual teacher-student ratio in our special ed department. It says 1 to 91, like we have one teacher to 91 students.
Let me
And I
pull it
feel
up.
like that's not true.
No,
Teresa
so
probably is like,
it's-
absolutely
no.
not. And staff was 1 to 40, and I felt like, are we missing a decimal?
No.
Should it be like 9.1?
No, and actually,
or-
those aren't even calculated by me. It's all formulaic within what's put out by the Auditor
Okay.
General. So, and because.
Oh, these are state statute proposed. Underneath it does say a state statute. It references a statute. It says proposed ratios for special ed and then references 2 statutes. I don't know, it just seemed weird to me. It stood
Yeah.
out as like, that is not true. We are not, I wouldn't want it to be believed that we
No.
put 91 special needs kids, special education kids with 1 teacher.
Yeah.
We have one class like that, I do know.
Yeah. I don't have
I don't
much of
know.
an answer for that.
Okay.
It's odd because it appears to
That
be
is-
the proposed ratio that the state has.
I don't know where it comes from. I was just
You know what?
curious.
And to be really honest, I found 3 errors within the Excel sheet that I corrected myself while doing it from when they changed it, actually in the summary page. So it may be linking, because the only really way you know from a special education teacher to, I think that's teacher to pupil ratio of special ed teacher to our total population pupil. It's not to special ed student pupil. Nowhere in this document does it have me put how many students we have with an IEP.
Okay.
So that
But it does
can
have you put
extrapolate.
how many teachers
Absolutely.
are
In fact,
special ed
yes, above it's
designated
proposed
teachers.
staffing, and
Okay.
it's certified, then it breaks it down to the special education staffing, which we have 38 teachers and 86 staff members. And then the ratio, it does have me put
Okay.
what's
Maybe
called
that seems more true.
attending
Does
ADM.
that feels more accurate?
That's it, because there's no
Okay.
input for the number of students that we have with special needs.
Okay, so
this
teacher
is
to pupil
teacher per
in all of
pupil,
our,
all kids,
all of the kids?
Yeah.
Gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha.
Is how many sped teachers per
Per
total
total
population
population.
in district? Interesting.
And on the summary page 2, which is the one before that, you'll see average daily membership, and then it says attending, and it has me put in the 2025-26, and then the upcoming budget year of 3,470 kids. It's using that number to divide the number of teachers, so it's all
Okay.
all kids divided by that staff.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
You're welcome.
And then on page something else, I don't know what page I'm on this one, hold on. Give me a second. $78. It's the breakdown, Brian, of all the different funds. And I just was curious, like, our fund for food went, you budget 500,000 less than last year. I know I'm assuming the upper numbers that are budgeted less is due to ADM count being down, but
Not the food service.
not food service. I was
No.
wondering what changed in our food service that we could go from spending, or we had 2 million for prior
Yeah.
year, and now we're expecting 1.5 million.
It's because we spent a lot more money in the previous year, so we don't have as much available. During the COVID year, so the way food service, you can't operate a for-profit food service within a school district. So they only allow you to have in that fund 3 months of operating data. But not data, operating expenses. But during COVID, all students were free. And so the reimbursements for students were all high, and districts were carrying, they make you do what's called an excess cash in the food fund if you have more than the 3 months operating, and almost like 90% of the districts had too much money. And so essentially they said, spend it or it goes away. And so we had been carrying a larger balance, and then we were told by the fire marshal that none of our oven hoods in any of the classrooms, or any of the kitchens were legal. And so we're currently spending $650,000 out of our food service fund to put hoods above the ovens within the kitchens. And thus the decrease. So what you're seeing from last year's budget was we had not done that project yet, and now we have, and so we're $500,000. We still have to pay a little bit of that in next year's budget because they're not done. So excess money, we spent it. We don't have it a budget anymore because it's lower. We will have, I think, $250,000 in our food service fund after that project's done, and our food service cost is about $110,000 a month. So we're under that threshold. It's a really long answer for, we have less money to spend.
I don't think there's ever a short answer to any financial
of this.
school finance question,
So less money to spend, less budget on our budget report.
which proves how very complicated school finance is. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we spent about
That's good
1.2
to know.
million on our food service, and this 1.5 is right in the area that should be budgeted because we don't have that excess cash that they are considered. They actually changed the rules to it because districts weren't spending. We have all brand-new kitchen equipment in our kitchens due to the increased revenue during COVID.
Good.
Yeah. And it also helps that for the last couple of years, there's no reduced kids either. They've all been free based on the governor's bill, that they're back funding what we don't get in reimbursements for reduced kids. They're treating them like free, so we're still getting a little extra money from it.
All right.
That's an excellent question and an incredible pickup.
Yeah, because I didn't.
That's,
Really?
excellent job. And
You
Brian,
didn't look carefully at page 78?
and I'm just amazed at Brian's
I'm a nerd.
competency with the budget. It's just amazing. Very good job.
We appreciate you. He can answer the questions without looking up anything. That always floors me.
I just,
I'm surprised he doesn't know what page, he probably does.
thanks.
It
We
hurts me
appreciate
to
you.
compliment you.
I
but
know it does. I don't know what to say. I was going to say something smart alecky, and I just got nothing now. You made me speechless, Brett.
Any other questions, concerns, anything? Andy, you good?
I'm fine, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
So do we have a motion then to approve this proposed budget for 2026, 2027 as presented?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
nays? Okay, no nays on the budget.
Thank you.
good?
No abstaining either. That's nice.
Good. All right, let's go on.
I was going to abstain, but then I asked all the questions I thought I probably should.
7C2 has to do with our new policy. So the motion is to consider terminating all current and past policies of the PUSD District Number 1 under the Arizona School Boards Association Policy Bridge Platform as presented. Do we have any questions, concerns about terminating our policies with the Arizona District, what was it called? Arizona ASBA, thank you. That's the one that we were using last year, and we looked at the new ones this year, so is everyone happy with that?
Yes.
Andy, what about you?
I am going to recuse myself from this discussion and vote. As a board member as a member of the board of directors for ASBA, I feel I have a conflict of interest in voting to either continue or not continue the ASBA policy services package. So I'm going to recuse myself from this item and probably from the next one as well. I feel I can approve district policy regardless of the provider. I'm just concerned about voting to continue or not continue something that I'm a fiduciary member of the board for. So that's my reasoning for the recusal.
All right, that makes total sense. All right, do we have a motion to terminate our current and past policies of Prescott Unified School District Number 1 under the Arizona School Boards Association Policy Bridge Platform as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor of terminating our relationship with ASBA Policy Bridge?
Aye.
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 And we have one person who's recusing, so that would be 4-0. All right, let's move on to,
We're kind of in a precarious position here with no policies for our district, so.
For like
Andy,
1 second.
You can do anything you want now. This is,
Yeah.
okay.
Go quickly to the next one.
Is that really true?
yeah, well, no, I don't.
you
well,
can't. That's why I said it to Andy specifically. I knew he'd be all right with this.
Yes, all right. Anything you want to do, Andy, before we jump on to C3? No. All right.
It's just going.
C3 will be to consider adopting the Prescott Unified School District Number 1 Policy Program Manual developed with the consulting assistance from the Arizona School Risk Retention Trust Model Policy Program as presented. And we've had lots of discussions about this policy. And Andy, anything you want to mention about that?
No, I would just say I
In
appreciate,
looking through
Oh,
this-
wait, other Andy.
Andy Binder.
This Andy and
I
then
was talking
Andy.
about Andy Binder. I should have prefaced that remark. Go ahead.
Let's do Andy Freyer first, man.
Andy Freyer, we
Yeah.
want to hear you first.
So in reviewing this agenda item, I believe I can vote on this one because it is just a vote to approve the district policy. It is not a vote against an organization I'm a board
Correct.
member of. So I will participate in this one.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to say about it?
No, I
Good.
was
Okay, Andy.
took part in viewing it. So
All right.
thank you.
Andy Binder, what would you like to say about the new policy manual?
Yeah, I mean, this is the culmination of well over a year now of discussions and lots of work, and I just want to thank the board for looking into this and for the discussions around the different policies. And I think from what I've seen from the trust so far, it's been really positive, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to work with us going forward. But so thank you for your work on this.
Yeah. Very trivial question on my part. Are we going to, from now on, just call it the trust model policy as opposed to Arizona School Risk Retention Trust, Inc.?
That's how I've been referring to it.
Yeah, we almost never say Arizona School Risk Retention Trust.
It makes a little more sense, and it's a
We
little
get
easier.
confused partway through and get sad and start to cry, so.
Okay, that's
I do think it's important for the public to know that a lot of attention went into it. Like, it may seem like it's just one item on an agenda, but we've been meeting for 5 months, 4 months.
Yeah.
4 months prior to each meeting, we've had a study session to review all of these policies. The great thing about it is it's very well-written, very succinct, very understandable. And so, I mean, I just think it's important that the public knows it's been reviewed well beyond the 588-page board packet that we received today, or this week. So it was very eye-opening to review. I thought the reviews were really thorough.
The board spent a good long time talking about a range of issues, some previous policies, not kind of non-copyrighted policies specific to PUSD that you decided to migrate over as part of this. They're reflected in this new set of policies that you'll be looking at. Stan, I think I cut you off, sorry.
Yeah, no, I appreciate all the work that, Sarah and Andy and who else did a lot of that? Clark went through it, yeah, but mostly a lion's share of the two of you, right? And to make it so that when we did enter the room, it was very succinct, and the tag teaming that went on between the different attorneys. So there's a lot of backup support there. I just feel very comfortable with it. And we asked a lot of questions. I mean, there were some things that, because we were familiar with the previous policy and how it was comprised, that, I just thought it's just very well done. It almost feels like it's more up to date. I mean, I know the ASBA one was 2, but this one just feels fresh, so just really all over
I
it.
feel like this one's user-friendly.
Yeah,
More
no
so,
doubt.
a little bit easier to find what you want, to find what policy you're looking for. And I also appreciate what Clark said, we were able to migrate everything over to the new policies. They were very good at any question we had, any concern we had about how we were going to word it, how we wanted it to move over. They worked very well with all of us without any questions at all. Anything else? Okay, now this is a big step, all right. Do we have?
Hurry.
Yeah.
Yes, do
We're
we
policy
have
free for a minute.
approval? All right. Do I have a motion to adopt the trust model policy program as presented tonight for PUSD schools?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, passes 5-0. All right,
Now we have to
Okay.
behave ourselves again.
done now, Andy. All right, let's move on to 7C4. We need to consider, discuss, amend, if desired, and if deemed advisable, whether or not we are in agreement to adopt a resolution approving the governing board's argument in support of our Operation Budget Override election in November. Do we have any discussion about that? Because this is an important move as well, this is to get this cemented in. Did everybody have a chance to read our paragraphs in support? Okay, good. Anybody, any questions? Nothing? We're good? Andy?
This is the pro statement that would
This is the
be
pro
in the
statement
voter information
that's in the
pamphlet from the
information.
board that's required
Yep.
by law for you to submit. Okay.
I have to jump ahead, Sarah, to page 573. Andy, what's up?
No, I don't have any concerns with our support or with the statement. I'm fine with that. Thank you.
All right. Any
We
other-
talk about how, the PUSD teachers are paid less than state average. Do we feel like we should share what the outcome could be, or did we decide that wasn't, if we get the 7%, what would our teacher, I think our teachers would still be behind?
That frankly, I think Brian could confirm for us, depends on what other districts do in moving their salaries up.
Okay.
It's very likely that we will still be behind the state average. Yeah, we'll move toward the state average doing this. But yeah, we could say likely. We had lawyers go over this pretty carefully. Anything that was opinion-based, the word likely would probably be a red flag for them, et cetera, so.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, it's a good question. We don't know exactly how far we'll be behind the state average, because the state average will move this coming year, right, as everybody else
Maybe we'll
makes
contribute to
adjustments
the
like
state
you've approved this evening, 5% or 3% more, excuse me,
Right.
for our folks. Next door, they did 3%, and across town, they did 2%, and down in the valley, they'll do 5%, and we'll just see
Right.
what that average comes out to.
How it shakes down.
Because this would, you know, it would allow for 5%, and if we had growth, we could think about using that new money either to add on to that 5%, but probably we're looking at it, hey, we don't have to as deeply look at our systems and class sizes. We'll still do our staffing model because we don't want to be inflated for a year, because anything we can do this year will help
Exactly.
a year after we don't have the overrides. The override only provides new money for the 28 school year, and we're going to be right in the same boat for the 29, the 30, the 31, trying to come up with raise money. So this is
Right.
kind of a 5%, please
It's like
allow us
seed
to.
money.
Yeah,
Starts us, but
Also,
then we have to
in
continue.
reference to your question, Jen, an additional possibility is that if this does pass and there's enough money for a 5% raise for everybody, the board might do what you've been able to do the last several years in a row, which is squeeze other places and find an additional 2%, right? Without an override, you've been able to get small raises for people. You might be able to do that next year and add 5% to that and do a total 7% raise.
we wouldn't
5% of that
fall
being
as far
directly from the
behind if
override.
we did that, because everyone else is, like Clark said, 3%, 2%, we're getting a
Right, but
5.
then we have to try to
The
sustain
net
it.
is what we're going more, well, Fummel does a 3 and we do a 5, it's only 2% more that we're gaining on them. And
Right.
So depending on which direction you go, that will also impact where we're at, in reference to that moving target that we'll have next year. So it's hard to say for sure, but the likelihood, based on the trend lines we've seen the last several years and how far we are below the state average, will likely still be below state average, unless something, for teacher pay. Well above state average for performance and things like that, but
Right.
for teacher pay below.
Okay, I like it.
Any other discussions or comments?
I just
Yes?
like this last part of it. Says approving an override is not just about funding, it's about prioritizing our children's education, supporting our teachers, and ensuring that our community thrives. That was well written. Like it.
You got a smart lady here.
Thank you. All right. Let us then, do I have a motion to adopt the resolution approving the governing board's argument in support of the special maintenance and operation budget override election?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Passes 5-0. All right. Yay.
Thanks, Jane. Thank you.
All right, 7C5. Teresa, you're up. Tell us about the RISE curriculum.
Okay. So I've effectively been in my new role 2 weeks. But I did start researching this a little bit before, because all of the majority of this work happened long before I was ever even a thought in ESS. But I am happy to be here and super excited about my new position. So just we'll go through this, and a lot of this, Maya shared this with me, and I've added some updates, and I think found the information that you guys were really wanting to know, which had to do with cost. And that there's good news with that. But basically, why we're adopting a curriculum. So our RISE program is specifically for our students with autism or similar needs who require a highly structured and supportive environment. The program delivers individualized instruction tailored to each student's unique needs, with a focus on communication, social interaction, sensory integration, behavior support, as well as academic growth. And using the evidence-based curriculum and best practices such as visual supports, predictable routines, and targeted behavior interventions. The classroom fosters engagement, helps to reduce anxiety, and builds essential skills. A low student-to-teacher ratio ensures intensive personalized support, empowering students to develop independence, emotional regulation, functional academics, and life skills in a setting designed for their success. And so, basically IDEA, our federal special education laws that basically say we need to make sure that we offer FAPE, or free and appropriate educational access for all students, and that they have, and even students with special needs, and that it's at no cost to the families, it's tailored to the students' individual needs, and helps students achieve their IEP and SDI goals, specifically designed instructional goals. And there was a large committee who worked on this that I was not a part of, but we had a wide variety. I think I did watch the last board meeting that when Maya presented, and Andy's listed on here, and he made the disclaimer that he only attended one meeting, but your presence, Andy, was still appreciated. So there was a wide variety of participants, parents, paraprofessionals, instructional coaches, general education teachers, as well as administrators and special education staff. And so just to give you an idea of the time frame, so this started last July with looking at the curriculum systems and the 3 programs. They were looking at STAR and Unique Learning. Came out as front runners, and there were formal meetings in the month of February to create a rubric where staff went through, or the committee went through and evaluated each of the programs based on the rubric. They met with publishers and did a final review, and then the materials have been on public display actually since March. And just a reminder of the curriculum. So there were 2 that were looking at, and there's actually 2 that we're wanting to adopt, and there's specific reasons why each one is important. And the STAR curriculum itself, it's designed for students with significant needs and support, mainly at the K-6 and developmental level. So it focuses a lot on foundational and adaptive skills for students with high needs and autism. And it focuses on their activities of daily living, behavioral and self-regulation, as well as the self-awareness and interpersonal communication skills. It's very structured, incremental lessons. Oops, I hit the button, it didn't turn. Consistent reinforcement strategies, but it does involve primarily one-on-one instruction, so it's pretty intensive for the students. In the classroom environment between the teachers and the paraprofessionals are able to structure with the student to staff ratio, they're able to provide that instruction. It does have built-in classroom management strategies that are specifically supportive of autistic student needs. There is an online data tracking system, and it's engaging and clearly sequential material building on skills as it moves through. Some of the considerations with STAR, that it does require significant teacher preparation, so teachers have a lot of prep work to do, and so that's a little bit time intensive in terms of implementation, which is pretty common, unfortunately, with most new curriculum that we adopt, that it is time intensive. Teachers have to figure out the materials, make copies and prepare things. Once that initial integration happens, things usually move a little bit more smoothly. And what makes STAR unique is it systematically focuses on building those core foundational skills, especially in behavioral communication needs. And it's specifically designed for severely impacted learners. And with autistic students, having consistency, structure, and routine is extremely important for their success, which is why it's most effective at our younger levels. The second curriculum they were looking at was Unique Learning Systems, and it's designed for students who are ready for greater academic but need less of the adaptive needs piece. It's a comprehensive evidence-based curriculum, and it supports learning beyond the foundational skill level. Again, it has more advanced academic content. There is still communication development. Typically, your autistic students still need lots of communication support. And AAC, which is augmented alternative communication integration, and those are just methods, tools, and strategies that that support and replace spoken language, especially for students who may have really limited language abilities, with autistic needs. Okay, so what differs with unique learning systems, STAR required a little bit more one-on-one intensive. Unique learning can be implemented with whole class engagement with students working at different levels, leveled instructional materials, scaffolded support for skill progression, and promotes academic growth and student independence. It has technology integrated lessons. It's built in. It has built-in data collection and progress monitoring. It's structured but flexible implementation. And then, again, what makes it unique, it combines age-appropriate advanced academics with differentiation. It's data-driven. It has data-driven supports to guide instruction, bridges students from functional skills to broader academic achievement. And the million-dollar question you're all wondering about is cost. So STAR is virtually costing us nothing. And so basically between piloting that we have done and training programs, last year one of our schools, several of our teachers participated in a training that involved coaching, and so materials were included in that. We're hoping to put together, and it was mostly a cohort of Granite Mountain teachers that participated in that. So I've been working with Jeanette to get a team of teachers from Abaya Judd and have that same piece. But STAR is basically, it's physical materials, and all the classrooms already have it, so we don't need to purchase it. There is a small purchase of some consumable items and some manipulatives that the classrooms will need going into next year, but it's fairly minimal. And then unique learning. And actually, all of the schools, while unique learning is a little bit more designed for the older kids, some of our students, as they progress through upper elementary, especially in our older class at Abaya Judd, can really use a little bit more academic integration. And so it's an annual license per school. Each license covers 15 students, which more than covers each of our schools. So it's just one license per school annually at a cost of a little bit under $900 per school. So the total cost for unique learning comes out to a little bit under $2,700.
Is Mile High in there too?
No, so Granite Mountain's program is 5-8.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Yes.
How many students are at each campus right now, or like in last year's?
I believe Abaya Judd had 11 between the two classes. Granite Mountain, I don't have the numbers for Abaya Judd off the top of my head for next year. I know Granite Mountain's looking at 11 or 12 kids in their class next year, and I feel like there were 8 or 9 at the high school.
Okay.
And that's kind of a rough estimate. So really our total cost is about approximately $3,000 for the curriculum. You don't
Somebody
count.
say curriculum and less than $3,000 in the same sentence.
Can we just stick a zero there, actually 2 zeros?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Seems reasonable. Yeah.
Any
K through 12.
questions? It took me a little bit of digging. I really had to I met with the committee. I went through the board, gathered information, met with some committee members, and it took me a little bit of digging. Okay, what do you have? What do you need? And so, but yeah, we were able to come up. It's, in the scheme of things, a fairly minimal cost.
I know when we did our tour at Mile High specifically, every school, the people who talked to us the most were by far our special ed teachers. But at Mile High, they specifically talked about a lack of curriculum, a lack of just tools and resources, and they felt like they had to go find everything themselves. So I'm sure I know there's a great need for them to have some consistency throughout the campuses.
Yeah.
I have one question, one comment, one question.
Okay.
congratulations on your directorship. I don't know
thank
if that's a word or not. Can I use that at the school board?
It is now.
I need to find a more articulate way to say that. But it's going to be great working with you, and we're glad you're in your new position. And thank you for defining the acronyms. I get my ESS acronyms, and so I appreciate your presentation. My question is, what is your recommendation regarding curriculum?
In terms of the RISE curriculum?
In terms of RISE curriculum, yeah.
My recommendation is we move forward with it. I mean, as Jen said, and I feel as long as I've been in schools and been in administration, I feel like special education really struggles sometimes with that piece, with curriculum. What do we use? How do we make this happen? And, you know, I feel like our special ed teachers, they do an amazing job, but they're often trying to figure it out and piecemeal things together based on what they know are best practices. And so I think it's really important to give them structure and foundation to, you know, best support our kids.
It's great, Dave. It seems like it makes sense from what we've seen, but you probably dug into this more than any of us, and I just wanted to hear what your recommendation was. So thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, thanks for looking at it. I know we were supposed to vote, I think, last month, but with your new position, I wanted to make sure you got to see it and liked it and felt like it was going to be the right thing, so that we're not making a new director use something that they don't think is the right tool. So I'm glad you had a chance to get into it.
Yeah.
Can I just add one piece, and that's it has been on public display. There has not been anybody who has come and provided feedback for us on that. So.
I appreciated that. I think, Jen, you kind of started the conversation, but other board members were on the very same page. Absolutely had total confidence in what Maya had shared, and we're feeling good about it, but wanted to be sure that our new director was also feeling the same way and on board. So giving her the time to look into it, and Teresa, thank you for the work that you've done on that, not being a part of the process initially. I'll make one other quick tangential comment. When we looked at the makeup of the committee, fantastic. It showed one parent. It's worth noting that many of the people who happen to be employed by us are also parents, some of them parents of special education students in our district. So there's more than just one parent, but there's one person whose primary and singular role was parent. It's worth noting that all of our committees, Kelsey does a great job when she structures the committees to making sure we have a number of people who have children in the programs that we're looking at curriculum for. But at any rate, thanks for being sensitive to that and giving Teresa the time to look into it and get more knowledgeable about it and feel confident about it and be in a position to share what she just shared with you, Brett. So thank you all for that.
All right. Do we have a motion to adopt the RISE curriculum as presented this evening?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor of adopting the RISE curriculum as presented signify by saying aye.
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 All right, passes 5-0. You can go home, Teresa.
She wants to come to all the board meetings now.
If you go home, you have to text us the score of the soccer game, if there is any score.
No.
7
we
o'clock.
don't know the
So
score. I have it. It starts at 7.
we're doing good.
Starts at 7. All right, 7C6. We need to consider adopting the Prescott High School 9 through 12 grade modern language curriculum as presented, and this is going to be Kelsey.
So as a reminder, the proposed curriculum was from Vista Higher Learning for Spanish, French, and German.
Oh, yeah.
For 1 and 2, and then also for Spanish 3 as well. Again, we placed that on public review for a little more than 60 days. We did not have any feedback from our community on that.
My only question, I think I know the answer. It's also, Vista also incorporates other languages that we might very well be adding in the future. Is that correct? I think I remember that.
Potentially, yes. It depends on what language we would want to include.
Course, yeah.
But it was our only option that actually included all 3. So the really nice part is they're collaborating already on resources. They're able to have the same instructional guides because they're all formatted almost the same way. Yeah.
Questions on this one? Andy, any questions?
No, I don't.
All right. All right. Do I have a motion to adopt the Prescott High School 9 through 12 grade modern language curriculum as presented this evening?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. Passes Let's move on to, we're just zipping through here. 7C7. To consider approving students recommended for early entrance into kindergarten for next year. And Kelsey, that would be you as well.
Yes, from high school to kindergarten.
Yes, it's all part of your job.
Yes. So we had 9 students and 9 families apply for early kindergarten entrance, and we screened all of them, and 8 of them met the criteria in order to start kindergarten early. We just had one that was pretty far below what we thought would be successful to start kindergarten early.
All right, so 8 of them made it.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions about that?
Are these kids that'll most likely repeat kindergarten a second time, or they just are going to be a grade level ahead?
And that's why we do the screening, is because we don't want them to fall in that position. We don't want them to start behind. We want them to be ready to be able to keep up with their peers. So most of the time, we do not see retentions in our early kinder kids.
And most of them are just a couple years, a couple months, sometimes even younger.
Some of them could be a day past the cutoff. Some of them are potentially have an October birthday. We have had applications as late as December. We can't accept anybody past December 31st for early
That's the
kindergarten.
cutoff,
So they
okay.
have to fall between September 1st and December 31st. So they're not incredibly far behind in
California
age.
is still end of December, I believe, for turning 5. I think it's one of the states, because we used to have a lot of kids come in from California.
From there. Yeah.
They've got
that's
a
possible.
developmental kindergarten program in many districts in in California that puts them in a slightly different situation. Kelsey, you mentioned the dates that the December 31st cutoff is in statute, right?
Yes.
So even if we were a charter school that was kind of monetizing
Correct.
kindergarten by trying to pull in as many early
Yeah.
enrollment students as possible, no one's allowed to do it past that date.
No. And not receive funding for them. Yeah.
They also have it in statute that if you do take an early entrant, whether it's 1 day or 1 month or whatever, and they do need to be retained, you do not receive funding for that student the second year. And if they were with another district that had them as an early entrant and they moved to Prescott Unified School District as a second-year kindergarten, we don't receive funding because the other district did.
We get that sometimes from local charter schools where a kid was enrolled early when probably should not have been, needed to repeat, and then they send them to us and we don't get any funding at all. But we get a great
Interesting.
kid who gets a great education and often stays with us for many years, so
All right.
that's where we're at.
Do we have a motion to approve the students recommended for early entrance into kindergarten for the 26-27 school year as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, and that one passes 5-0 as well. All right. Let's move on to 7C8. To consider approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Prescott and PUSD for the use, operation, and joint programming of our Prescott Community Center. And that one is going to be Clark.
Okay. And if you are ready to speak to a little bit of this, if with Jane's permission, I'll kind of turn a little bit of time over to you on this one as well, if that's okay. But you remember that we've got an IGA with the city for outdoor education. We have been employing for the last few years an outdoor education coordinator who worked primarily at the community nature center across the street from Granite Mountain, and the city had been allowing us to use the community nature center almost exclusively throughout the school days, et cetera, and we've had an IGA regarding that. We're making some tweaks to it this year for a couple of different reasons, and maybe if it's all right, Jane, I'll ask Andy to share a little bit more about that.
Sure, yeah, we, the last couple of years, like Clark said, is that we had an employee in that position. We actually were able to expand it a little bit at times with different grant funds and things, but as those grant funds have dried up, we've had less and less availability of that. And then on top of that, we had our current employee actually choose to stay home with her new child, and we thought this might be a good time to reassess our program. And at the same time, we had Sarah Vincent with the community, not the Community Nature Center, the Highland Center, talking with us, and we thought this might be a great partnership. And so spent some time working with them and decided between the Highland Center, partnership with the city, we can fulfill our needs in the district pretty effectively and maintain that strong partnership. So we're pretty pleased.
So this idea that you're looking at is specific to our relationship with the city, but a broader part of this, as Andy suggests, is that the Highland Centers to become a bigger part of this kind of three-way pact that we'll make with each other for outdoor education, and the Highland Center is actually picking up some of the cost of the outdoor education coordinator, and we'll employ that person directly. We'll supplement that cost for them, but
And we
we'll
do not have
realize.
that position filled as of yet.
So we won't be filling it going forward. The Highland Center will do the hiring.
They'll do that.
They'll do the HR pieces. It will save us a lot of, not a lot, save us some effort in the HR department for sure, and hopefully we'll have even more stability in that role. And there'll be, we haven't determined exactly what it's going to look like, but a net savings to the district north of $20,000 a year.
Yeah.
So we're really appreciative to both the city and the Highland Center for Natural History helping us out that way. And it'll be a great thing for kids, I think. Sarah Vincent, who's their director there, has been working closely with Kelsey to coordinate. Do you want to, is it okay if Kelsey speaks to that briefly?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, so we've been working over the last couple of years to partner with City of Prescott and Highland Center and created kind of parallel but separate programs. And we've done a lot of work to combine them into one without losing any of the experiences that kids already have. It's just going to be nice that there's going to be no overlap, less coordination between the two different programs. It'll be very seamless, and it'll be consistent staff for our kids, which is going to be really helpful, and teachers, so that they know who their contact is. And they are so incredible at coming up with great opportunities to help our kids grow and explore science through a different lens. So,
Yeah, so pretty neat. I mean, you hear the term win-win a lot. This is
Yep.
win-win-win, and it truly is
Yes.
that. I think all of us are on the same page
Yeah.
feeling that way.
and Jane, I don't think they have filled that position yet. They've got some interviews scheduled and happening, and they're very hopeful that they've got some great candidates.
So since it's not a district position, we could apply for it and
You could, absolutely. I encourage that.
Oh,
You're
Ranger
gonna
Meg,
sell your practice?
Ranger Meg.
I think you'd be great.
win.
You fit that in between your patients. But no, that'll be great.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Do we have a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement between the City of Prescott and PUSD for the use, operation, and programming of the Prescott Community Center as presented?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, passes 5-0. There's a lot of these tonight.
There
All
are.
right. 7C9. We need to consider approving the sewer line easement at Prescott High School as presented. All right. Do you want to talk about that?
If you'd like
I
me
was
to.
thinking Andy, yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay.
Adam, I'm
Fair
sure
enough.
wanted to talk about that, right?
So I hope I made you aware of this. Did I make you aware of this? Is this new? I apologize. We're going
This
to
is
build
why
a
he
sewer
comes to the
line through your
meetings.
campus.
Did you know there's a
We'll
sewer
talk
line
about it
right
later.
through right through
I,
campus?
the reason I didn't bring it up with Adam is, first of all, I'm a poor leader, but secondly, it's such a minor situation, it won't impact their school in any way. You'll see in a minute as I share this with you. Remember, a couple months ago, we looked at an easement through a corner, literally a corner of the property at Taylor Hicks. This is a very similar thing. It's a corner of the property at Prescott High School. It's where Ruth Street meets Wetstein. And it's outside of the, there's a bus drop-off area there. There's a fence on the outside of it. It's outside of that, literally in the corner of that. It's I can't remember how many total square feet they're looking at, but it's a real similar thing where they're expanding and improving their sewer lines to be able to consolidate their wastewater treatment all out toward the airport instead of some by Sundog Ranch Road and some at the airport. So it's all part of that grander scheme that they're part of, and they've asked if they can use that piece of our property for this specific purpose only. They would do the construction the fourth quarter of the year. I said, man, we'd be in trouble if the traffic started back up from construction on Ruth Street or Wetstein at the beginning or end of school. I said, I was given a verbal assurance that would happen outside of school days. So I said we can do it at night if we need to. It can happen on Saturdays, Sundays, et cetera. So there literally should not be any impact. Nobody would probably even notice that it's happened if the board decides to approve this. It is the case that when the city asks for an easement, sometimes there's a monetary give to the word's not coming to me, but anyhow, to the property owner. In this case, it's such a small piece of land, and there's really no detriment to the school district in any way, and we have so many great positive partnerships with the city already. We just talked about one that primarily benefits the school district instead of the city. The city's doing something good for us. I thought this is something I could recommend to the board without any financial compensation for us to allow them to increase the sewer line under a 5-foot corner of our property.
We're still looking at fourth quarter of 2026.
That's what they said. It would be the likely scenario.
All right.
Yeah. I hope that's okay, Adam. I apologize for. We usually talk about important stuff, and this one didn't come to mind. Sorry.
Do we have a motion to approve a sewer line easement at Prescott High School as presented?
Make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 That's 5, passes 5-0 as well. All right. 7D, information and discussion items. 7D1, Brian, school board summary budget report.
As presented?
Yep, you're on. Anything? Any questions? As presented?
There we go.
We good? All right. We don't need to do anything on that, do we? Okay, request for future agenda items. We talked about the launch pad coming back and talking about post-Greece.
Yes,
Okay.
I did send an email, but I did not hear back, so I
Okay.
will reach out again.
And then I think, Andy, you had mentioned we needed to, for future, talk about this delegate assembly that's coming up in September.
Yes, so the ASBA Law Conference is happening September 9th through the 11th this year. And the delegate assembly is going to be held on, I think it's Wednesday the 9th. And I am unable to attend this conference this year. I'm going to be rafting the Grand Canyon. So we need to designate an alternate to attend the delegate assembly if we.
And so you want us to put that on a future agenda item?
If we could.
Well,
So
I think we can.
sometime before September.
Sure. All right, Sarah's got it. She's writing it down as we speak. Anybody else have anything they'd like to see on a future agenda? I'm still shooting for phonics eventually, but there's no hurry on that one.
Yeah, we're just waiting until school's back in
Yeah,
and then
of course. Yep.
Yes.
All right. Meeting dates. 7D3, our next meeting will be Tuesday, July 7th, which is coming up quickly, at 5 p.m. here. Other dates on our agenda this evening, 4th of July. It's going to be observed on Friday, July 3rd for our PUSD staff, so sites will be closed that day. Do we have parking spots at the DO for 4th of July?
We could probably
Could we
arrange
do
for
that?
that if you'd like, yeah, for the parade and whatnot.
Yeah, for,
Is that something you could help us with?
we have little cones we could
We have
put
some
up.
cones that we put out, yeah. I can't guarantee
Anybody
that people
need-
honor that,
anybody
but people
take advantage
typically
of
do
that
if they see a
there's
cone.
Parking spot available?
We ride our little bikes.
Oh, you ride your little bike, so that's because you're close. Yeah.
Can I ask
I
if
will
you're
be out of
interested in
town
that,
for
if you'll
the
work,
Is
if
anybody
you'll
else interested in
reach
having
out
a
to
little-
Sarah and
Yeah,
I'll
let Sarah know
definitely
if you'd like to have a little parking spot. It was so nice at graduation, just pulling into a parking spot. All right. Number 8 today is action items. It is recommended at this time that the governing board approve a call for executive session according to statute. And we will be evaluating the superintendent. I don't know if I'm not quite sure the procedure of this. We don't have to have a motion, or
Yeah.
there's a motion to approve it? Okay. So we do need a motion to approve calling for executive session at this time.
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have any, Andy, did you get that one?
Oh, I think he's out. He just texted me and said he's gonna be checking his hotel. He might be
Okay, then,
offline
all
for a
right,
few minutes.
All right, so then we will do that at this time.
Okay.
Those of you that are